Second time in power then, and the Taliban faced two immediate challenges. One, forming a government when even they were surprised at how quickly the capital fell. And two, a country and capital full of people displaced by fighting, a humanitarian crisis. They will need foreign aid. But the West, America in particular, has another preoccupation.
Everybody's in Afghanistan. Al-Qaeda, the Central Asian groups, the Chinese groups, multiple Pakistani groups, up to a dozen Pakistani groups, and they've been fighting with the Taliban in this recent offensive. Now, how is the Taliban going to suddenly turn around and tell all these militants go home or get lost or disappear because we want to have good relations with the Americans? They're not going to do that.
We are a generation on now from what seemed then a final farewell to the Taliban.
It's now early afternoon and they're rolling their heavy armour right into the centre of the city.
20 years ago, anti-Taliban forces roared into Kabul, and we witnessed the Taliban flag taken down at the international airport. The days of compulsory beards were gone. Kites could be flown once again. The ban on women working or being educated was over. So too the public floggings and the public executions at the football stadium. So the key question now, have the Taliban changed?
I think you're going to get a mixed bag. They're not going to allow a free press. They will insist upon girls' schools being separated from boys' schools.
So goodbye to all this. Tolo TV, a symbol of Afghans' totally free media for the past 2 decades. Say what you want about who you want. Nobody's going to lock you up. Well, as these pictures show, the Taliban have already been round this morning, but not yet to control the message.
We were in contact with them yesterday, with the spokesperson, with some of the military officials. They're actually quite efficient. And as a matter of fact, they also asked if we needed protection inside the compound, to which we said thanks, but no thanks. Nonetheless, we did ask them to keep an eye on the street because our biggest fear, and I think this is also for most Afghans, is this sort of the criminal activity and the looters and anarchy basically scares people more than even the Taliban.
And you can't know which type of Taliban will turn up on your doorstep. There's the sophisticated leaders, like Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, seen here signing an agreement with the Americans. But what real control do they have over their fighters on the ground?
There are going to be a lot of militants out in the rural areas and the countryside who are possibly not going to like any moderate or liberal, if you like, traditions being set for the sake of the cities and for the sake of international opinion. Now, the Taliban spokesman has made it clear that women will be treated with respect. They will be able to go to school and university. Now, whether his orders are going to be followed in the countryside is another story.
The Taliban will likely bring order where the invaders could not. Expect more moderate noises at first. Then, with foreign charities and China perhaps pouring in money, a new constitution in a few months, full Sharia justice, ministries for mullahs. With Kalashnikovs and homemade bombs, their victory over the American arsenal is absolute. So will their rule be equally so?
Alex Thompson with that report. And tonight, in another sign of the changing times, one of Afghanistan's major broadcasters, Tolo News, has resumed its coverage in the country with all female presenters. Journalist Beheshta Akdan began the broadcast with a live studio interview with a member of the Taliban's media team asking about the situation in Kabul and the house-to-house searches going on in the city. Many on social media praising her bravery, others saying they hope it's an indication that the Taliban's stance on women has changed. Well, Farzana Kochai was a member of parliament under the former government. She says there will be resistance if the Taliban tries to curtail women's rights.
One scenario is this: they won't, like, if they do this is a good one, that they don't prevent us from going to school, attending school, universities, and having a job, but they will just set up some limitation for us, something that be in this range. And then the second scenario is that they totally remove or delete women from the society. That's the worst one, and that can't be handled. They just say, like, be in your houses, that's it. Or just go to the school up to this grade, up to this age. So that's the worst one, and women in Afghanistan can't resist that and can't tolerate that. You know, here we have a generation that's been grow up with some values, so they can't give up on those. If Taliban can't make it to satisfy the people of Afghanistan, at least somehow or a little bit, then there would be a resistance.